Today we'll be reading The Phantom of the Subway by Geronimo Stilton. This book is being read with permission from Scholastic. Terror in the Subway. Cheese niblets! The subway was chasing me. My heart was racing. My teeth were chattering. My ears were ringing. I woke up with a start. Whew! It was only a dream. That's right. I was safe and sound in my bed. My ears weren't ringing, but the phone was. I picked it up. Hello, Geronimo Stilton speaking. My sister's shriek made me jump. Geronimo! Get your tail to the office right now. It's important, Thea yelled. I looked at the clock and leaped. What? 10 minutes past 9? I was terribly late. I'm on my way, I told my sister, but I was talking to a dial tone. One thing you should know about my sister, she's not the most patient mouse on the block. I jumped in the shower, brushed my teeth, and got dressed in record time. Then I rushed to the Singing Stone Plaza subway station. I was waiting for the train when I heard a horrifying sound. Meow! The crowd rushed for the stairs, squeaking in terror. A cat! There's a cat in the subway! I ran for the exit, too. It was bad enough I was late for work. I wasn't about to become some cat's breakfast sandwich. Rodents were pushing and shoving. I stood back. Oh yes, I wanted to save my tail, but I didn't want to be crushed into furry pulp. Just then, I noticed an elderly lady holding a young mouse by the paw. Come on, Grandpa, the little mouse cried. But the old lady mouse was frozen with fear. Quickly, I grabbed her paw. Don't worry, madam, I yelled. Everything's going to be all right. I scooped up the young mouse. Then I led them both up the stairs. At last, we were outside. Thank you. You are a true gentle mouse, squeaked the old lady gratefully. I smiled. Do you like to help others? I do. It makes me feel all warm inside, sort of like when you eat a delicious bowl of hot cheddar soup. Thinking of soup reminded me that I had forgotten to eat breakfast. I was starving. I bought the little mouse a cheese ice cream. Then I had one too. Not my typical breakfast, but then this was not a typical morning. A phantom cat. I looked at my watch. It was 10 o'clock already. I had to get to the office right away. Oops, I almost forgot. I never introduced myself. My name is Stilton, Geronimo Stilton. I run the Rodents Gazette. It is the most popular newspaper here on Mouse Island. Now, let's see, where was I? Oh yes, I was on my way to the office. I decided to hail a taxi. When I arrived at the Gazette, I looked for my sister. Suddenly I heard the roar of a motorcycle, and the door flew open, and there she was. I groaned. Thea, how many times do I have to tell you, I squeaked. Don't ride your bike into my office. She just giggled. Then she parked her bike next to my desk. Forget the bike, Jerry Berry, she ordered. I've got bigger news. It seems there's a humongous cat in the subway. It may even be a ghost. We absolutely have to beat the Daily Rat to the scoop. I tried to tell Thea about the meowing in the subway, but she wasn't listening. Once my sister gets on a roll, there is no stopping her. She's like the Apollo Swiss cheese rocketing into space. 3, 2, 1, blast off! Now she raced to the computer and started surfing the net. Here it is, she shrieked, making me jump. You should know another thing about my sister. She is very excitable. She began to read the latest news on the mysterious cat. It went something like this. On Monday, rodents reported smelling cat pee-pee at the Cheese Rind subway station. On Tuesday, someone found strange cat-like scratches at the Scurry Hill station. On Wednesday, huge cat prints were found at Nibble Drive station. On Thursday, horrified passengers spotted a cat's shadow at the Curly Fur Court station. On Friday, that's today, an awful cat's meowing was heard at the Singing Stone Plaza station. Rumor had it that the cat was a ghost. Yes, an honest-to-good mouse, horrible, horrifying, hideous, Ghost cat. I chewed my whiskers. Can you please stop using that word? I begged Thea. You know I am terribly afraid of cats. My sister snorted. Geronimoid, she smirked. You are afraid of everything. In fact, if you weren't a mouse, I'd call you a fraidy cat. I felt faint with fear. My sister had no sympathy for a mouse of my delicate nature. Anyone for golf? At that moment, I noticed a fax coming in. It was a press bulletin. Inspector Cluerat closes the subway for safety reasons, it screamed. Thea twirled her tail. I just have to know more, she cried. She picked up the phone and began calling all of her big-shot friends, the mayor of New Mouse City, the chief of police, the city's top cheese inspector, the world's most famous detective, Hercule Poirot. She put down the receiver, looking disappointed. Rats! This is just unbelievable! No one will tell me anything about the subway case, she complained. By now it was already late afternoon. Suddenly, an idea hit me. Did I tell you that I've taken up golf again? I said. My sister put her paws on her hips. Geronimo, I'm talking about a huge scoop, she grumbled, and you're talking about golf. You are so foolish. You are so thick. You are such a cheesehead. I rolled my eyes. Why did my sister love to pick on me? I was a good mouse. I never hurt anyone. Well, there was that one time when I accidentally ran over Uncle Nibble's tail with my car, but that's another story. For your information, Thea, I said, I happen to have just met Bertie Whiskers down at the golf club. My sister raised her eyebrows. I could tell she was impressed. That's because Bertie Whiskers was always in the news. He was a championship golfer, and besides winning tournaments, he also was the head of the entire subway system. I picked up the phone and called Bertie. I congratulated him on his latest game. Then I asked him about the mystery in the subway. Unfortunately, not even Bertie could talk to me. The investigation was top secret. I hung up with a deep sigh. Suddenly, my cousin Trap barreled through the door. Of course, he didn't bother to knock. I don't think he even knows how. Yes, that cousin of mine is one pushy mouse. In fact, his nickname is Pushy Paws. I stared at him now. He was loaded down with shopping bags. Have you heard the news? I'm going to open my own bagel place, he shrieked. I'm going to call it Big Belly Bagels for big-bellied rodents. What's up, Cousinkins? Trap dumped his bags on my floor. Then he pulled the wrapper off a cheddar lollipop. What's up, Cousinkins? He asked, plopping into my chair. He put his paws up on my desk. Then he started picking his snout. Do you mind? I squeaked. I shook my head in despair. Did I mention Trap can be a complete slob sometimes? It's a wonder we are related. He pulled the lollipop out of his mouth and burped. Well, somebody forgot to take their anti-grouchy pills this morning, he smirked. He stuck his sticky lollipop in his pocket. Then he began cleaning his teeth with a toothpick. By this time, I had had enough. I slammed my paw on the desk. Trap, can't you see that we're busy? I burst out. We are working on a story about the phantom in the subway. It's big news. His eyes grew wide. Big news, huh? He muttered, deep in thought. Then he grinned. Don't worry, Jermeister. I can handle this one, he said. Just sit back and watch a pro at work. Before I could squeak, he grabbed the phone and started dialing. I've got friends in all the right places, you see, he explained. Simpleton Smallpaw is the nephew of the dormouse for the building where the head of the entire New Mouse City Transit Authority lives. Yep, Simp and I play checkers together every week at the Telltale Tavern. Seconds later, he was chatting away on the phone. First, he told some awful jokes. Then he made some rude noises. Finally, he got down to business. Listen, Simp, I'd love to blab all day, but I've got work to do. I need some info about that cat in the subway, he said. 10 minutes later, he hung up. A big smile spread across his face. I know everything, he squeaked. Am I good or what? I tried not to roll my eyes. After all, I wanted to hear Trap's information. Still, it wasn't easy. I wanted to knock his paws off my desk. I wanted to throw his sticky lollipop out the window. But more than any of that, I wanted the scoop. I leaned forward. Well, I asked in my nicest voice, what's the news? Beside me, Thea grabbed her notebook, pencil in paw. But instead of spilling the beans, my cousin just snickered. He twirled his tail, looking smug. Uh-oh, I thought. When Trap gets that look, it can only mean one thing. Trouble with a capital T. Secret information. I was right. Trap wasn't about to give his news away for free. He wanted to be paid. I could use a few smackaroos, he said. I mean, I am opening up Big Belly Bagels, you know. I should have known. Trap is always looking for money. And I am his favorite mousy bank. Here's my offer, my cousin went on. I will give you the inside scoop on the cat in the subway. You will publish a special edition of the paper. Of course, it will make lots and lots of money. Then we will divide up the dough. 80% for me, 20% for you. What? Are you crazy? I squeaked. I was fuming. What did I do to deserve such an obnoxious relative? He was so frustrating. He was so annoying. He was enough to drive a mouse up a clock. My cousin pretended to be shocked. Listen, Jerry Berry, he squeaked. You're lucky that I'm giving you any info at all. In fact, maybe I should just make a deal with Sally Rasmussen. I bet she'd hand over some cash to get the scoop on this cat. I turned pale. Do you want to know why? Sally Rasmussen is my arch rival. She is the owner of the Daily Rat, my paper's biggest competition. You are such a penny pincher, Geronimo. I jumped to my paws. That's ridiculous, I screeched. You know Sally is my #1 enemy. Trap just sighed. It's your own fault, Geronimoid, he insisted. If you weren't such a penny pincher, you'd have your story. Penny pincher? I couldn't believe my ears. I am a lot of things, a scaredy mouse, a brainiac, a worrywart, but I am not a penny pincher. Every year I give dozens of free books to the Rat Town Library, and on Christmas I send 100 cheddar logs to the residents at the Creaky Mouse Nursing Home. Why, I would give my right paw for a rodent in need. I was so mad I couldn't squeak. But it didn't matter. My sister had started screaming at Trap. Her ear-piercing squeak made my head pound. I was getting a mouse-sized headache. Right then, Pinky Pick marched into the room. One look at Pinky's face, and I realized that she had heard everything. It's a deal. Pinky hopped up and down on her pink platform shoes. Everyone freeze, she ordered. Thea stopped yelling at Trap, and Trap stopped yelling at Thea. I stopped chewing my whiskers. All eyes turned to my assistant editor. Pinky is only a teenager, but she is not shy. In fact, she is the exact opposite. When that mouse starts squeaking, look out. She can talk the fur off a long-haired hamster. Okay, here's the deal, she began. 1. Trap tells us everything he knows. 2. I tell you how to get by the police barricades in the subway. 3. Thea organizes the whole expedition. And 4. Boss, you put up the dough. She grinned and went on. We'll divide the money among all 4 of us. That's 25% for everyone, she finished. Trap groaned. What? Equal shares? He complained. That doesn't sound fair. Pinky twirled her tail. Take it or leave it, she squeaked cheerfully. For a moment, no one said a word. It was so quiet you could have heard a sliver of Parmesan drop. Then Trap stuck out his paw. It's a deal, he told Pinky, and they shook paws. I could tell Trap wanted more money, but I could also tell something else. He was impressed with my tough-talking assistant. Who would guess a little mouse in pink shoes could be so pushy?